Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we are talking Bitcoin. Bitcoin has obviously had a bit of a run to the upside, so it's important that we kind of reflect on what that has now changed in terms of structures for the technical analysis, whether we are now bullish on crypto or whether actually this is still a potential bearish pattern that we form here and potentially does mean we have to go down a bit deeper. Let's jump right down into today's video. If you have found it or do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new, subscribe, and if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what you're waiting for, check it out, linked in the description below. Let's kick things off with the 1 hour time frame. Here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT using the BitGet spot exchange. If you're not already signed up to BitGet, what are you waiting for? Link is also in the description below. It's a fantastic platform and it's my go-to platform. In fact, I use it for 100% of my leverage and 90 to 95% of my spot buys. So why not check it out? Link is in the description below. It's affiliate link, really does help the content, help the channel out massively. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's take a look at what's going on here then. So as we can see, we had this really impulsive structured move to the upside here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So to me, it looks like we had an extension in the fifth wave move, and then we have this break to the downside. Now, at the most part here, the thing that we need to kind of consider is what this might mean, okay? Because of everything that led up into this. So let's go ahead and just reflect. We have a 5-wave drop to the downside. Okay, we had a 3-wave move up, a 3-wave move down, and a 5-wave move up. Now, there is a running flat correction and an irregular flat correction. So let me show you. Okay, so we have a running flat correction would look like this. Okay, so the B wave goes higher than the origin of the A wave, and the C wave fails to go down deeper than the A wave, right? That is called a running flat. Then you have something called an irregular flat, where the C wave protrudes deeper than that of the A wave, right? So B wave is higher than origin, and C wave is lower than the A wave peak. And so these are the two running flat and an irregular flat corrections that are a little bit unusual in the way that they form. And why do I talk about these? Well, these particular patterns, in fact, can I bring them back? There we go. These particular patterns have one thing that they must do. It's an immutable rule, if you will, of Elliott wave theory. They must end in 5 waves. Okay, so we must have a 5-wave movement in the C wave. Okay, everything else here will be a 3-wave pattern internally here, and of course over on this side as well you'd have 3, 3, 5 is kind of what you would look at. Okay, so 3, 3, 3 3, 3, 5 for a running flat and a 3, 3, 5 on an irregular flat. So we take a look at this. We've got a 5-wave pattern this side and we've got a 5-wave pattern this side, right? Is it possible that this is a part of a correction? No, because we have 5-wave coming up here as well. So it's unusual to have that scenario. You have a 3-wave pattern coming up here, yes, but it'd be very unusual to have a 5-wave pattern followed by a 5-wave pattern. Over this side here, what do we see? Well, we see something very similar. We have the 5-wave pattern to the downside. So again, you wouldn't expect it to be there. So we're going to have to kind of look at this and say, okay, well, we've got a potential irregular flat here on the left, and we've got a potential irregular flat over here on the right. So it doesn't help us understanding where we are right now. It means it's going to be slightly more risky to be trading right now than anything else. So is there anything else that can help us understand where we currently sit? Well, our C wave up here finished, okay, and that's actually right inside our targeted range. So this one here actually tells us that it's more than likely that this was just a 335 to the upside, and actually, yeah, we probably have this not as a irregular flat or anything like that. That means that a new structure started to form to the downside, and it started with 5 waves. Therefore, that kind of puts me more in line to think that this side over here is the irregular flat situation rather than on this side, simply because this hit our target range and is typically where you'd expect a C wave to go, whereas down on this side, we have not had that peak where you would normally expect a C wave to land. Okay, in fact, if this was a move to the downside or a beginning structure, it would be quite unusual. Okay, so therefore, I think if ultimately what's actually going on here is that we have an A wave coming up, a B wave coming down, and a C wave coming up here. Essentially, this will be a B, C irregular flat. Now, this is important because it would either tell us that we have to break down from here in another 5-wave pattern, or we're going to break up in another 5-wave pattern, right? And it's very important because we start with 5, we must end in 5. So if this is a beginning 5-wave structure and we're bullish on the market, then that's kind of what you'd expect. You'd expect a correction down and then another 5 waves to the upside. So it's a little bit complicated. We are in a bearish structure on smart money concepts, as we can see down here as well. So again, we've got that to kind of bear in mind. We are finding support at the moment on the 50 and 200 EMA, and it does look like the short-term price action is about to cross above that of the 200 EMA, or the longer-term price action. And so again, you might get a small bullish kind of idea happening there. But ultimately, our structure is still bearish. I don't think that's changed. I think that this is a C wave high because it's an irregular flat, meaning that we might have a small bounce a little bit higher here, but ultimately a break to the downside is what I'm looking for. So that's the hourly chart. It's quite complex. I think essentially at this point in time, we're probably better off not trading Bitcoin right now and letting the dust settle and see how this kind of plays out. Now, as you can see, the stochastic RSI is lifting back up again. So we've got a potential move upwards. From a volume profile, volumes have dropped down as price corrected down. That's also pretty healthy. Nothing terribly too scary there. The move to the upside is quite unusual from a volume profile point of view. Not a lot really going on there. So not too concerned about that one at the moment. So we'll keep a close eye on it, but I suspect that we are probably not likely to have another 5-wave move upwards, but we'll see how that plays out. On the daily time frame, we are still inside this 3rd wave move, in my opinion, because of an irregular wave 2. However, considering everything that is going on here, we would have to consider maybe our positioning of this actually changing quite a bit. So yeah, we'll see how this kind of plays out. We are still inside the 5th wave movement. Okay, so as you can kind of see, we're still in this 5th wave to the downside. The only thing that's now up for question is whether or not we are in the correct structure here. And our wave 2 is here, and we've got to have this kind of larger move to the downside. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. A wave 2 is not allowed to retrace more than 100% of wave 1, so it's an unbreakable rule. So for example, we can't have a wave 1, wave 2 like this. Okay, that's not valid. So we'd have to look at this as the wave 2, and this is the wave 1 is the only other way of kind of looking at the market from the daily point of view at this point in time. The other options are, of course, that we are in fact in a wave 2 and we have not started the wave 3, and it does look like this because that's a possibility where you can have that occur with an irregular flat correction. As I was saying, we'd have the irregular flat looking like this, so that's a possibility. So there's a few different things, but ultimately, because we have not pierced up higher than the wave 1, which is 28,588, unfortunately we are still bearish on the daily time frame, and our target still remains 22,693 to 23,874. Has not changed. Even though we've seen this move to the upside, unfortunately it hasn't changed the structure of where we sit on the daily time frame. Okay, we can still see that we're a looming cross on our averages. You can see here we had the def cross on the moving average point of view. That happened on the 12th, so actually more like the 11th, between the 11th and the 12th yesterday. And so we can still see that we are looking for having the cross also on the 50-200 EMAs you see there. And we are, of course, still on the path for the 50 moving average to cross down lower than the 200 exponential moving average. Okay, that's probably a few days out. So for the most part, yeah, we're still looking unfortunately bearish, I think, on the daily time frame. We need to see price above 28,588 if we want to be bullish. And of course, our stochastic RSI is lifting up, so that's not looking strong. Any divergences, nothing here on the divergence indicator on the daily time frame, and volumes on the daily time frame are also quite low, as we can still see. So we're not exactly looking strong, in my opinion, overall. Take this to the weekly, and on the weekly time frame, you can see that we're still finding support on the 200 weekly EMA. We're down in an oversold area, and so we might find ourselves with a potential break here. But ultimately, if you take a look at these last 4 candlesticks on the weekly time frame. They're pretty much just dojo candles. You see the volatility higher and lower, but your open and close or seeming to be kind of all stagnant all around the same area. The market is undecided in which way this is going to go. Ultimately, I think when a direction is made, it's going to be a very violent move in that particular direction, whether that is to the downside or to the upside. I think it is going to be very, very volatile. At the moment, we're just waiting for those decisions, and I think we're going to start to see a little bit more of that over the next week or so. But ultimately, still right where we were and have been for the last couple of weeks. Nothing major has shifted or changed on our weekly time frame. I'm going to leave this video right there, though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one, though, guys, have a fantastic day.